How much gains do you think you make a month just trading NFTs?
Well, I think last month I made, well, it's not realized profits, so it's like evaluations. But I think last month I made like 4 million, 3 million, yeah,
Whoa.
3 to 4 million. But that's like the problem is with NFTs, it's such a large range because the fluctuation can be like 10% in a day. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I would say a more 4 million probably is like the market price of them, but I'll say 3 million because if I really want to sell it right now and I would probably need to undercut the floor like 20% to get liquidity.
Wow. Interesting. Damn, that's crazy. How do you get those massive gains where you turn like 5 ETH into 100 ETH? Because right now, even if I freaking double up, I spent 4 ETH, made 8 ETH, then I reinvest that 8 ETH into a bunch of different projects. I might get small gains everywhere, 50% gains, 60 might lose one completely. And it's just like, I'm just like, I can't sell it. But then those are just small gains. How do you go from 10
Hard,
ETH to like 200 ETH?
large conviction bets. You know, you got to find it's that's when what in like a world of crypto where it's moving so fast, where people hold stuff for minutes if not hours. If you just have the conviction sometimes that you say, I know, this is going to be worth this, and you have a thesis and you stick to it. Like, I love the community and this is great. And I think, this is going to be the holy grail of it. Spend your 5 ETH and, find a community that has a zero point 0.1 ETH floor, but buy the one that was like priced at 5 ETH because that's the rarest one. Because those tend to be, the most like asymmetrical bets.
Whoa, that's a gem you just shared. That's interesting. Because so you think buying based on rarity, based on trying to get a good deal on a floor, is much better.
Well, yeah. Well, so my belief is
Wow.
you buy floors or you buy grails and you buy nothing in between. Because the problem about rares is there's not much liquidity to rares. Because rares are a very subjective thing. And now, of course, you can say oh well, mathematically, there's only 2% of this, so this is really rare. But the thing is, no one really cares in the end of the day. It's art. So people just want something that they kind of vibe with and looks good. Now, there are people like you, and so maybe you can make some money off that, but rares are never priced right. And so it becomes kind of a middle IQ trap because you're like, well, why is this really rare one, only priced 2x above the floor? It should be priced 4x the floor. And you might be right, but you're also assuming that NFTs are a rational market. So really, there's only two things that people truly buy, and that's the most expensive one and the least expensive one. Now, the least expensive one, that's you want to buy that if you're a flipper. If you're looking for liquidity, you want to buy it because the least expensive one you can immediately put on a market, you can get a sell. But the most expensive one, because they are illiquid, you can set a price to it, and people, you can wait. And if you ever, high conviction that you think like, well, this is worth, maybe the whole set's worth 10 ETH, but this should be worth 300 ETH, then you can set it for 300 ETH. And, there's a good chance that you might find a buyer if, you're either, you're patient enough.
Interesting. So,
So for example, I'll give you, for example, like for like toads, I think I spent 50 ETH when the floor was 1 ETH, and
wow.
that's worth now 900 ETH.
Wow. Interesting. And you just, okay, so let's say I had 5 ETH. Would this be a good
Yeah.
game plan? Look for 5 projects where the floor price are zero point 0.1 ETH each. Look for the 1 ETH sort of gems in those 5 projects. Spend the 5 ETH on 5 sort of gems and just wait it out over the next few.
No, I see. I think diversification, that would hurt you in that. I know, like you would kind of. I mean, I guess when we come to a more bull market, type scenario, then a shotgun approach does work. But for this current for this current market, I would be very careful because when there's not enough attention, attention liquidities and NFTs is the same thing. Um, very few projects stick. So I would recommend for a period like this, you would find something that has like a zero point 0.5 even to 1 ETH floor, and then spend your 5 ETH on one NFT. I think that's much better than spend on 5. Now, yeah, come to like NFT November, like we get the crazy bull run, institutions buying, Coinbase marketplace. Yeah, shotgun approach, you want to buy everything. You want to keep just buying because everything's going up. But when you're, in these like prisoners dilemmas type market where everyone's waiting to see who sells, who's the first person to sell, and they want to, they'll market below you, and you kind of see the floors drop because like someone's like, okay, I'm gonna list mine for 1, and like, well, I need to get out because he did list for 1, so I'm gonna do 0.9. Someone's like, I did 0.8. Then you want to find a project. I recommend 1 or 2 projects instead of 5.
Interesting. And then right now on your day-to-day, well, do you still look at NFTs? Do you still go through OpenSea, or is that not worth your time anymore?
Um, well, the thing is, I never have to look at stuff because I've learned that the best way to figure out what's the next big thing is to find a community. And so I have a bunch of people who they're talking about what's next, and you start seeing memes of this stuff. And so I'm at a point now where I don't have to be the person who is digging through like the mints. I can be kind of late.
And then
um,
when you have heads up on all these different projects that are being released and they look like it's strong, do you somehow figure out how to get into the whitelist? Do you somehow go mint and then deal with gas walls, or do you just buy it on
I,
OpenSea?
I usually buy secondary. I'm not a big minting person. I know. I think most people just like the mint. I mean, even though like yeah, the minting might be smart because you have a chance. I like to not really have the FOMO of the minting, and I know people have the reveal aspect. I just like to I see a project, everyone says it's kind of cool, and I see it's been minted out fully, and then I just kind of go through the marketplace and like, oh, it's like 10,000. Okay, let me take like an hour and just kind of look through all this and see like what I like and what I don't like.
Wow. And do you sort of put on your subjective eye and just sort by lowest to expensive and just scroll and look for ones that pop out? Or do you turn on the filters and just scroll to the bottom and see which filters have like the smallest amount of other?
No, I mean, sometimes you do that to like help you out, but I think most of the time I just look through all of it, because I think in those early stages, there's always people are always betting because there's people who are grail investors, and they're always betting what is going to be the grail, and so sometimes it's not the rarest thing that's a grail, and sometimes it's not the thing that's was the highest last sell. Sometimes it can take a month or two for people to even figure out that this is the grail of the collection over something. There's some interesting scenarios where the most wanted piece of a collection is not the rarest. So rarity, I don't think should uh, play a large role into it. Like you look at loot, the divine robes were very common, but everyone just loved the divine robes so much that the divine robes were marked like 6 times above the floor. And
Wow.
then like creatures with like the rain jackets. So every community, like they have that thing that they kind of rally behind it, but it's not evident at first. And so if you're looking for the biggest like EV plus bets, then you should try to figure out like what is it going to be the thing that catches on.